Well, then welcome back to this week's episode of MVP Real Estate Podcast. We have Derek Vickers here from Florida. I never confirmed that. You are from Florida, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I know you do your investing there, but thanks for joining us. I'm sure your weather is better than us up here in Wisconsin. We're still below 60 degrees.
Seriously?
Yep.
Ooh.
But we've had 90s like the past week. We're in like a cold snap for some reason. Who knows?
I just want to add we are also in season 3, episode 18.
Forgot that part. Thank you, Dan. But thank you, Derek, for being here. Thanks for giving us the time. I want to kind of find out, because I always jump into these shows cold. If you can give me and our viewers kind of a background of kind of where you came from and then how it developed into what you're doing right now in your career.
Yeah, I'd love to. And this can either be, an hour or 30 minutes, but I'll make it relatively short. So I lived in Florida for I think about 13 years now. And basically I grew up in Virginia. And I grew up in a small town that everyone knew everyone, 1,000 people. And I went to school, went to college, didn't finish college. We won't get into that. And so I moved to Florida because I was hanging out with the wrong people when I had gotten out of college and just going down the wrong path. I'm like, I need to get out of here. So I moved down to Florida and I started selling insurance door to door. I moved to Florida like with $300 in my pocket. I had like a $300 tax return. I had just gotten fired from my job in Virginia, but I did have that tax return coming in. So I'm going to take all this cash that I got and move to Florida. Got the bright idea to go sell insurance door to door, commission based sales. Because I'd read a book, I forget what book it was, maybe a Zig Ziglar book or something. And he said salespeople make just as much as doctors and lawyers. And I'm like, oh shit, this is okay. I can go do this because I can't be a doctor, I can't be a lawyer, right? Just couldn't do that. I didn't want to do that. And so I started selling insurance door to door and just getting my teeth kicked in every day, just brutal. I think I made like 13 grand my first year. And like, if you think about that now, it's like, how the heck did I live off that? Well, my rent was $300 at this place. And so a lot of turmoil in that, but I ended up making that business work. Took me a few years to get going, but then I started building up a team where I had like 10 people, and then I built it up after 9 years to where I had 100 people on my sales team. I was this big regional director for a large insurance company. So I was making like big numbers of money, but with this particular company, I had all the office expenses and business expenses and things. And so, I wasn't really making that much money, but it was like, oh, Derek, you're doing so great. And I'm like, damn, dude, no, I'm not. Right. And I always wanted to invest in real estate because I figured out, and this will make you laugh. So I thought the guy who made, who was worth 100 billion, 100 million, a billion, whatever. I thought they got paid that every year. Right. I thought they got a
Yeah.
W-2 every year that said, hey, Dan, you got paid $100 million this year. But then I started doing research. I'm like, damn, dude, these guys, they invest in assets and the assets appreciate and blah, blah, blah. And that's how they create these large net worths. And I'm like, most of them do it through real estate is a great vehicle to do that. And so I actually, that was about 2015. I started actually just looking for multifamily deals and underwriting them, learning how to back of the napkin math and do all this other stuff and figure out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this leads up into 2020, actually. So I'd been doing that, didn't buy any real estate until then. I was still in the insurance business. Boom, COVID hits, right? And my insurance team, I mean, we couldn't sell anything. I mean,
Right.
Florida was still open, but there was so much uncertainty in the market.
Yeah.
No one wanted to pull the trigger on anything. So our revenue went, I mean, I think it was a third, maybe even less of what it was. I'm like, all right,
Wow.
I got to get this real estate thing going now. Like, this is crazy, right? And so, I started looking again. I'm like, damn, dude, multifamily, it's 150 grand a door in Orlando, 200 grand a door in Orlando. I'm like, that's not going to work for me. I don't have that much money right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a friend that was buying mobile home parks, and he's like, take a look at this asset class, dude. And I knew he was doing this. I'm like, oh, mobile home parks. I grew up around trailer parks. Like, nah, it's not an investment. So I started looking. I'm like, damn, I like the fundamentals of this asset class. Shrinking supply,
Mm-hmm.
increasing demand. Like, they're the cheapest place in town. There's no affordable housing. I'm like, man, this sort of makes sense. And so I did what I knew best. I got a list of mobile home parks. And in between my interviews and stuff, when I was still working in insurance, I was just cold calling. like, and that's how I got into the business.
That
Interesting.
is awesome. And kudos to you, one, for because sales is difficult. That's actually how me and Dan met. We were in sales, we worked for the same company. Sales is difficult. You had the expression of getting your teeth kicked in. That's what you feel like half of your day is you're getting your teeth kicked in. And then you have the one good meeting where you're like, it's worth it. And then you proceed to get your teeth kicked in the next 5. So sales already not fun, but selling a non-tangible asset like insurance is even more difficult. So for you to be able to build a book of business with that is super impressive. I don't think I have the tenacity to sell insurance. So I'm going to give you kudos on that one. And being able to pivot and go into real estate, which is super cool. So all impressive. And to go into mobile home parks, which are not like the fancy glamour investment.
No,
But
they're not.
as I got into it, because when I got into real estate, like I told you, I started listening to Bigger Pockets. The owners in there, they're big on mobile home parks. So they kind of changed my mindset on what I thought mobile home parks were to where I look at them now, and if they're working and they're operating correctly, they're kind of like this new, like the tiny home communities. They were like the original tiny home communities. They're not all junky, they're not all run down, the people are nice. It all works and it's great. People just need to learn more about it. So hopefully you're going to
Sure.
incite them on the real workings of how they work
Yeah.
and the
Yeah,
benefits
definitely.
of them.
For sure. For sure.
So you said you got tipped by a buddy to get into mobile home parks or to look at it.
Yeah, so actually, when I actually became friends with this guy, and this is sort of an interesting story in itself. So I didn't want to go, I was in the insurance business still, and I didn't want to go to this networking event one night. Didn't want to go. I was like, gosh, most of these people just go there and get drunk and they're trying to hit on girls. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to make some money. I'm like, screw it, I'll go anyways. Right. And I met this guy there, and he was working for like a real estate company, but this is the guy who eventually got into mobile home parks. And when he did, him and I would actually meet at my little cheap condo in the afternoons, and I would cold call insurance and he would cold call mobile home parks. I didn't really think about what he was doing or anything like that, but when I decided to get into the business, he kind of tipped me off to like, hey, dude, you need to get into this and check this out because of the various things that I said earlier. Did
Yeah.
I answer your question there on that?
Yes. Yeah. No,
Okay.
it's just cool to have somebody else kind of push you into it, especially when you're a little reserved. It makes the comfort level go down. And I was just kind of curious. Obviously, when you build relationships in real estate, did you guys end up syndicating on that first deal, or did you jump in all by yourself?
Well, no. And so the first deal actually I found I sort of fell into. So this is where this networking meeting was so important. So this guy, he had a capital partner that was investing with him that happened to live down the street from me. And so I was like, uh, he was like, "Hey, you need to meet this guy." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll start talking to him." So I started sending him some deals because I was finding stuff. I'm like, "Hey, what do you think about this deal?" He had a little experience in the industry. He was a real estate guy. I'm like, "Hey, this is what I'm underwriting this deal at. What do you think it is? What did I mess up on?" So he was sort of kind of pushing me along. And then I was finding some good stuff. And him and I kept communicating, became pretty decent friends. And he calls me one day. We had talked about building real estate portfolio and stuff, and he called me one day out of the blue. And look, this like, okay, here's the little thing here. So like people say, oh, you got lucky on your first deal. Yeah, dude, but you didn't make I made all these freaking cold calls before.
Yep.
I got my teeth kicked in insurance for freaking 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like I paid my dues, bro. Like,
Yeah.
trust me. Trust me. But he calls me and he's like, hey, I got this deal. I had it under contract. My operating partner backed out. I'm closing in 7 days. Do you want in? And I'm like, I'll call you back tomorrow. And I got off the phone and I'm like, all right, dude, what are you doing here? You need to call him back now. You know you're gonna say yes. Because I was listening. So I was listening to some Grant Cardone stuff at the time, and I could hear him in my ear like effing take action, man. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, dude, let's go.
He will get
Let's
you
go.
inspired for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, I need to move on this. Yes, it's not perfect. It's not the best deal, but I'm going to go in. And I didn't have to put any money in that deal, but it was 20% of the entire deal. It was a good little deal for me for running the operation. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to learn how these things worked. I
Yep.
wanted to deal with the tenants. I wanted to learn all the BS that happened around them. And the great thing about this deal, too, it was like 15 minutes from my insurance office. And so what I would do when we close this, I was suited up every day in the insurance business, sometimes even a vest. And I definitely didn't walk into the trailer park like that. So
I
I
was gonna
would
say,
it'd be
don't
like
do that. Don't do that.
no, no. And so like at 4 o'clock every day, I would change out of that into like a t-shirt and throw a hat on, and I would go over to the park. And this was a disaster of a deal. And maybe you're going to get into this question, but it was it was a mess of a deal. But that's how I got into that first deal, really.
Yeah. But that's super exciting because now you get to go through how it runs terribly and then how to clean it up and make it work more efficient and the things you need to do to make it work more efficient. With no background in it, it's you're drinking from a fire hose because you're trying to manage what is and learn where to take it and then try to implement all that. So, what were some of the let's start with the problems. What were the big problems that you were seeing consistent from the tenants that were there right in the moment when you bought it?
Yeah. So, it's funny. First day, like day of closing, yeah, the a-hole owner we bought this from called the city water and said, hey, we're closing this day, turn the water off this day. And I didn't know, like, hey, maybe we should have changed the water over first or whatever. So we start, the tenants don't have water the first day of closing. And I'm like, oh my,
Great.
like, so drinking from a fire hose for sure. So we had to go through this big, it was an emergency trying to get the water turned back on. Yeah, my office manager in the office was helping me with some of this stuff. And so that was just one little problem that happened first. But this park, it was 22 units. There were actually 10 units that were occupied. They were park owned units, meaning we owned the units and we rented them out, which is not
Okay.
where you want to be in the mobile
Mm-hmm.
home park space. And then 12 of them were vacant and they were in utter disrepair. I wish I would have had a slideshow to show you like pictures of this deal. You'd have been like, dude, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And not to mention that this park was full of criminals. When we finally checked like the criminal registry and things in the park, like they were all like situated in this park. And I had to go to that park every day. And I was literally, this is not hyperbolic. Like I was literally chasing people shooting up out of the vacant homes. So I was in this big
Really?
clean, yeah, I was in this big clean insurance office, and then I had to go deal with that.
I
Culture
mean, it,
shock
So
there, apparently.
yeah.
yeah,
Whew.
and someone looking at that would be like, "Why are you doing that?" Well, I'm used to rolling my sleeves up. Like the insurance business, like as much as I have like things that I didn't like about it, like the tenacity I have now, like you can't blow me up. Like
Yeah.
I've been through it all. Like I've been through a bunch of struggles. So it's just I have that persistence from that now. And so I was
Yeah.
willing to go do that. And so we bought this park for 425,000, by the way. Um, and so there was a lot of people that were vacant that hadn't paid rent. There was a guy, yes, it was sometime during COVID there, so there was some overlap of eviction moratoriums, but there were like half the tenants were delinquent before that even happened.
Oh,
And
geez.
so it was a mess. Like, it was
So
totally
that could be over a
mismanaged.
year of no rent payments.
Oh, one guy was like, I think almost 20 months.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, you're in COVID, so there's no evictions. So you guys are sitting on what you purchased, unable to get rid of what you need to clean up or improve.
Well, no, we were actually able to get some people out. It just wasn't as easy, and it took longer than it should have. And a couple people just kind of refused to leave, and I could go on about this deal forever because some of these other stories are popping in my head. I got threatened by a guy, and then he calls me the next day. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, man. I didn't mean that." When he was literally told me he was gonna freaking kill me the day before.
Didn't mean it. That was a slip. Sorry. It reminds me of going to see.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. I thought you were frozen. It reminds me of going to
Forget.
see this duplex, and one of the tenants would not respond to the owner. And she was like, "Well, we can see the upper, we can't see the lower because they haven't gotten back to me, but we can see the basement because it's common space." And we go to the upper, we go down to the lower, and then we're in the basement, and I hear like people running across the floor. And I like duck behind her because I don't know what's about to come down the steps. And this lady unloads on the owner about how dare you be in my space, just complete loss of control over the whole building. Like, I don't want this to be run like a militant base, but like, she couldn't respond to your text, but she can run down the stairs and berate you. So I'm gonna leave. And I told the lady, like, "Hey, I'm just here looking. I'm gonna exit because I don't know what is about to happen." And there are some moments like that where I never would have expected that to happen, but here we are. So the threatening part does kind of,
Wow.
it gets you. It sits with you for the rest of the day, for sure.
It does. I was a little disturbed by it for sure.
Yeah.
I
And
think
then
sorry,
it's
go ahead.
the recoup of, and she felt bad, and she's like, "Are you not interested anymore?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't say that, but we're in the middle of COVID. She hasn't gotten paid in basically what you're saying, like 20 months, some predating COVID. They just didn't want to pay. Um, it was a dirty, weird situation. Lot of cleanup to do, and the physical space and the operation of it. But that's where you come in and you clean up. So where did you take, after being threatened, after removing some, what was how many people were still there when you were able to clear out the few that you were able to?
Yeah, so there was half of those people that were still there. So what we started doing is we started selling off these vacant mobile homes as a handyman special. Like, we literally would give them away, like $100. Like, and in this particular, so you can't do this in every market, but because this was a strong market, it's like Brevard County, Florida. I don't know if you're familiar with that, like Cocoa Beach, like Cape
Okay.
That one I know.
Canaveral, where all yeah. So that area, great market. There's actually a huge market for people that want to buy these things, that they enjoy living in trailer parks, and they'll fix them up. And so what our offer was, it was like, "Hey, Marcus, you buy this house from us for $200. We'll give you free lot rent for 3 or 4 months until you fix it up. And then you move in and you start paying lot rent." Right. And that would bring up the aesthetics, and to make sure it was done on the outside of the house too, we actually made them put vinyl siding and skirting on the houses. And then when they were done with that, we would actually reimburse them for the materials costs, which was about $1,500 for that at that time. And so
Yeah.
they had an incentive to come at that time.
Yeah.
At that time, it's not that anymore.
No.
Um, And so we would reimburse them for that. And so they had incentive to bring up the value of the park. And we came in, we paved the roads, we put new lights up, we put new mailboxes in, they had these crappy buildings we painted and put siding on and like fixed up, put a fence out front, put a new sign out front. So this place, and if you go through this place now, you're like, damn, like this place looks good in here.
Right.
Because it was the armpit of that county before. So, okay, here's a good example. So, when I talked to the lady at the health department there, the health department used to take their new employees into this park as, hey, this is the worst of the worst and what not to do.
Really?
So, on like training day, day one, the health department's Denzel Washington would take their new people into this park and be like, okay, this is the worst. Don't do this, which was
Ooh.
pretty indicative of what that property was like.
Yeah. And that's great. And if you think about reimbursing for siding the material costs, well worth it in the long run of what you're operating at this
Gosh.
point. So a very easy decision for you to improve the area, and then more will follow where you don't like what you're saying at that time. Because once you get past that rough point, now people want to be there and they're going to want to follow suit of what that rest is going to look like in that trailer park. So a very, very good idea to offer something and then know in the end it's all going to be for a net positive on that.
Yep. Yeah, and just the kicker to this whole thing was that so we bought that in the end of September of 2020, and we refinanced it. I think it was July of 21. We bought it for 425. We refinanced it, reappraised for 1.7 or 1.75.
Dang.
Boom, we freaking crushed it. And I got my portion of that was like 350K, and like, all right, this is pretty good. And we had bought like other parks in between that, but this was kind of the first one that where I'm like, dang, like this is, you know, what I was making, in the insurance business in 1 year, and I didn't have to pay all this stuff out.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Speaking
And
of frozen, Marcus.
am I frozen? Oh, I am frozen. Can you at least still hear me?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop your video for now.
All right,
Or
that
you
works.
can turn it off. I don't know.
I'll turn it off and turn it back on. If my computer wants to start working. Darn.
My not to interject, but since we got a little bit of a lull, my association with trailer parks or mobile home parks, sorry. My grandma used to live in one, and she was a what do you call it? Brash, rough grandma. So we would go
Yeah.
over there, and my mom and dad be like, okay, you're gonna go stay with grandma for the night or for the weekend, and me and my two brothers were just like, oh, there's nothing to do there, whatever, and like just only thing you could do is watch old VHS tapes of Star Trek or Sister Act or other stuff, but there was nothing to do, and it was like she was, one of the older residents there, and then it just, I don't know, I just had a negative association with it. But so when you're breaking it down, how you have certain class of people there, and then how you flip it and turn it around, it's like you can see the potential with it. My question is, like, once you start getting them occupied, what kind of rent or like lot lease do you have with them per month? How does that work?
Yeah, so typically like we would sign and not to get into the weeds on
Yeah.
this, but it's typically like a year lease, and then after the year it'll just go month to month.
Okay.
You don't have to get a new lease signed every year typically. I mean, some people do. They own the homes, and so we don't want them to leave. They don't want to leave. Like, and so it's pretty easy after that. It's not in Florida, if someone owns a mobile home, like you can't just kick them out of your park,
Yeah.
right? And so that's why it's important, like when you're getting new and good people in to buy homes, you got to do great background checks. Your background check process has to be great, because when you sell them that home, you're pretty much stuck with that person for a while.
Yeah. Have you tried other type of like models on it where you with other mobile home parks that you've purchased, have you tried like a different model where you own the land and the mobile home and then you rent both out on extended periods and then maybe do like a rent to own option, and just so that, you know, not that you're hopeful that they do miss payments or fail on their end, but then you still hold the asset and then you have an easier chance of, you know, weeding them out, or, you know, finding the good occupants for the home in the space? Or is it all you
Yeah,
sell them the mobile home, or you just take over
yeah,
from?
no, correct. Yeah, so we sell them all, the mobile homes. Like,
Okay.
we really try to do that just because it's the easiest, because R&M, repairs and maintenance, is drastically lower.
Okay.
And most of the parks that we were buying, and most of the stuff that you'll buy in Florida, that you'll have trailers in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, older stuff, that there's going to be more R&M on those
Yeah.
because they're just old,
Yep.
right? They're old. They're still good units, surprisingly, but they're old. And you can't get as much in rent for them. Now, if you had a park where they're all brand new homes and you can get a substantially higher rent than the lot rent, then that may justify owning the trailers. And we've actually looked at potentially doing some of that. But that hasn't generally been our business model, because the fundamentals of the business that I love is that I don't own the unit,
Hmm.
right? The only thing I'm responsible for is the road, the infrastructure,
Yep.
right? The infrastructure and the common areas. Like, that's what I'm responsible for, and I like that, because on a stabilized asset, depending on what kind of utilities setup I have there, I'm going to run at a 25, 30, 35% expense ratio,
Okay.
depending on. If you have old homes that you own and you own the dirt, I mean, you're going to be in the 50s. Like, you're going to be pretty high.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Interesting. I've also have you ever come across like opportunities where, like the first one that you talk about, where it's like almost too far gone, but you can buy it for the opportunity of having the land because it's zoned for a mobile home park, and then you find either people that want to put new units on there, or you buy new units, put them on there, and then sell them to that? Or have you not gotten opportunities like that yet?
No, I mean, the only reason that we haven't is because, I mean, sometimes the municipalities, like, they won't even, so some municipalities, because they hate mobile home parks so much, they they don't want them. So they'll say, like, hey, since you moved this home off the lot,
Yeah.
if there hasn't been a home on it for 2 or 3 months, you can't move a new home on it, right? And
Okay.
so
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
got
yeah.
these little weird laws that sort of, prevent you from actually doing that.
That's got to be frustrating, because my I don't know, not I'm sure it's not a new idea, but if you could find an area, a piece of land that is zoned for it, and basically trying to bring in like almost shipping containers and then renovate them and build them into mobile homes per se, right? And then, you know, do the same thing, but then you have the same aesthetic all across, and then obviously people can put their personal touches on it. But I don't know, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I like the idea. I think the downside up here is obviously the weather for us, and um you know, finding, like you said, good tenants or people that are willing to put up that. There's a few around our area, I think. More for
There's a
me.
few, there's not many.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
yeah.
back in, but my video doesn't work, so I'm the ghost attendant.
Okay.
I don't know why I can't get it going. But I've been looking, obviously when I started with real estate, listening to the bigger pockets, and I got curious, so I looked at mobile home parks around here. Not many in Waukesha County. Um, when you go out west and north, there are some, and I'm surprised, and I don't know if I missed this part. I'm surprised that the municipalities are so against improving them. It's it's like you're fighting a battle where they're trying to remove them actively, but in the same vein, a lot of people and a lot of young people are trying to get into the smaller homes, or the I don't want a big house for the taxes, for the maintenance, for the cleaning. Like I want to travel and experience the world, so I want to rent something small. So we have a world of people that are trying to use that space and that could use these mobile homes, but the municipalities are like, well, we don't like them. So
Yeah, and I mean,
it's a weird battle.
yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, it's interesting because depending on which municipalities that you're working with depends on, it's different. It's not the same across any municipality. And they're not going to directly say that they don't like affordable housing or mobile homes, because that's, in the paper, they'll be like, oh, yeah, we're champions for affordable housing. But, if you look in
Oh
the
yeah.
mobile home setback laws, if you try to bring in a new home, you can't, because the setback laws are like, you know, 20 feet from the road
Yep.
and, 25 feet between the other trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 25 feet from the back of the lot. And I'm like, dude, it's Florida. Like these, like it doesn't work. I got to take out. It's still, I got to take out 3 and then put this one horizontal. Like
Yeah.
they just have dumb stuff like that prevents you from doing that. Or I don't know if you caught what I was telling Dan here, that like some of them will have. So let's say if we pull a mobile home out of our park and we want to put a new one on, if you don't fill that lot back up in like 2 months, then it's non-usable anymore, right?
Oh, I didn't catch that part.
Yeah, yeah. And so they'll have stuff in there like that.
Wow.
Like we were looking at a park, it was in Ocala, Florida, and then this particular, like the city, they won't let you, like this park had some vacant lots and you needed to bring in homes, but the city, I called the city and they wouldn't even let you do it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And their reasoning behind that was not a good answer?
Yeah, it's a city. Like
Yeah. That's bizarre
that's
'cause
just what it is. That's just what it is.
oh, I hate
Okay.
that answer. And you
I
get to
know.
work between different municipalities, and some will give you answer A, some will give you answer B, some won't answer you, and they'll give you just like, "That's how it is." And it makes no
That's
sense
how it is.
because then
Yeah.
I go to the city council meetings when people are trying to put in apartment complexes, and I'll air quote it. I know my video's not working, but for affordable housing, and their rent is like 15 or $1,600 a month.
Yeah,
I don't know
exactly.
where I don't know where they live that affordable housing is $1,600 a month, but I don't think that's it.
No,
But
it's
yet they
not.
won't
And
put in mobile homes where you could make rent easily for half of that price, and
yeah.
people would
And
love it.
like, yeah, and so for example, if you took this Ocala municipality, like so this park, it's probably worth, I don't know, maybe 2 million bucks, 1.5, maybe 2 million bucks. So your property taxes on that are X. But if they put 50 apartment units at 150,000 a door there, do the math on that, whatever that is. I don't know. You guys experts at math,
750.
150,000 times 50.
I don't
That's
have a
seven point
napkin.
five
5.
million.
There it is.
7.5. So your property taxes on that are obviously going to be much
Yeah.
higher. It's going to look better, right?
Yep. And then you can
And
find their answer of why they like those more.
there you go.
And
Hmm.
that solves all the questions. And that's so frustrating for
So
everybody,
frustrating.
except for the people in the government. So
I
if we
think
want
Exactly.
some controversy, we can go there.
the
There's your
irritating
Yeah.
part
controversy
about it
for the
is
show.
the municipalities, some of the people that run them, they bring in their own bias to it. Like whoever is the decision maker, it's partially power trip, partial bias, as opposed to looking at what the coding or the ordinances are for that specific area. And then if you were to contest it, you'd be like, okay, where in this ordinance or code does it say I cannot do this? Instead of your answer, like you said, well, that's just the way it is. Okay, well, that is your stance on it, but that doesn't show me where it's factual that I cannot. So like I would be way more, I guess, defensive in trying to win that opportunity. I mean, obviously you have to pick and choose, because if you dwell on one too long, you might miss the next opportunity. But it's just that's one thing that I guess gets to me, where you're saying no, but it's your personal no. It's not a no because
Yeah.
X, Y, or Z. So
Yeah, Dan, and that's, it's not only that you spend a lot of time on this opportunity and it's not like a home run, but the thing
Yeah.
about mobile home parks is they were built and they're not conforming. I mean, they were freaking developed in the 60s, the 50s. Like we
Hmm.
have a park
Hmm.
that was developed in 1948, right?
Ooh.
Um, and so let's say you win that. They're like, all right, you think you won that? I'm gonna drive through here tomorrow and pick out 1,000 things that aren't up to code,
Right.
and I'm
Right.
gonna
Yep.
send you citations for it and make your life a living hell.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
and that's what they can do so easily in mobile home parks. And so you have to, like, unfortunately, and what I found, even with freaking attorneys that you hire to help you deal with some code stuff and some building department stuff, that they're soft. Like they're like, oh, I got to keep my good relationship with the city. I
Exactly. Yeah.
can't go
I was just
hard
gonna
on these
say, yeah.
guys.
Don't.
And because the thing about mobile homes too is that they're freaking cars. Like, so the mobile home has the same title that you get when you buy a car. And so the cities try and treat them as an effing building.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not a building, it's a car. So it's not even really in their jurisdiction to, like, do some of these things, right? But some
Yeah.
attorneys are too soft to even tell them that. And I'm like, it is so frustrating.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
I think we just need to rezone it or recode it as like a parking lot,
I was just gonna
and then
say
you
that.
can get away with whatever you got to do.
Build a big
Yep.
old warehouse and
Maybe.
just call it storage facility, and then you could have on
There
site.
you go.
People live in storage units anyways. Have you seen that?
I haven't
I've
seen
I've
that.
heard a couple
Seriously?
stories.
Yeah, people will like the storage companies will build a brand new storage facility. We're talking 8 by 8, 10 by 10, or bigger, and then
Air
the
conditioned?
manager of that will run it will live in one of the units. Yes, ridiculous. I don't know how it's allowed, but they're talking about like, well, I don't have to pay rent. Like I can stay in this unit. What is it, 150, $200 a month? What the loss of revenue is for them, and it's cheaper for them to stay there as opposed to because they have to be on site anyways. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I saw
Wow.
a couple of different stories where the office managers or the managers of the property were on site in a unit. It's
That's interesting. And I
yeah,
could see, like, I could see that, like, people's moving to that, because if you pay $350 a month for a storage unit, I don't know if it's climate controlled or not, or exactly how that works. I'm not really familiar with that business, but, like, the middle class is getting squeezed right now.
Hmm.
And
yeah,
I could see people like, dude, where am I going to go?
yeah,
Like, okay, we'll pay $350 to live in the storage unit. We'll buy one of these little AC things or something,
yeah.
and put it in there wherever you are. Where you guys are would be like a kerosene heater or something. I don't know.
That'd be a
Um,
rough. What is that called? Uh, if you walk into somebody that's been sitting in a storage unit with a kerosene lamp, yeah, I don't
well,
know. That'd be
yeah,
a tough find.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So
I would not
People are
like to
getting
live in
creative, man. It's
Kansas.
out of necessity most of the time. Like
yeah,
I don't know. They got to do what they got to do.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
So after you'd purchased this one, just timeline wise, you purchased this one. You said it was in 20
September,
18
end of September of 2020.
of 2020. How
Yep.
long how long until you were, I won't say fully occupied, but stable? Because obviously very unstable when you bought it. You bought it for the price. I'm predicting because it was so unstable. Like what was the year process to get the thing up to where it was either cash flowing or stable enough to where you don't have to worry about getting run out because you're being threatened with your life by the tenants?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was probably 6 months, but to
That was
fully
quicker than I
stable,
expected.
yeah, probably 5 or 6 months. But to get it fully stable, like it's fully stable now, like it's cash flowing now, but we refinanced it twice now.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
like, yeah.
And then
So
you've
we didn't
used,
collect.
oh, sorry, you've
What's
used that refinance to buy more, is what you alluded to earlier.
Yeah, but and so we actually we went bananas in 2021 and at the beginning of 2022 buying wise. But yeah, so we had already bought like quite a few of other parks before this refinance happened. But yes, when this refinance happened, it was in my account for like, I don't know, 6 days, and then I rolled every bit of it into another deal. Every penny of
That's awesome. And
it. Yeah.
hopefully they weren't all I'm gonna call that one a D class property. Obviously you go A
You're
being
being nice,
I'm
Marcus.
being
You're
very,
being
very
nice.
nice. I don't want to give
Yeah.
any property an F. So we're saying D class property. Were all of them kind of like a fix and flip kind of thing, or did you buy some operating trailer parks once you had more capital, once you went through the grunt work of improving one?
Yeah, so good question. And at the begin when we got into 2022, we did buy some more stabilized assets, but most because we found in that first park that we could buy these parks with these really shitty homes on them and still sell them, and people actually wanted to come in and fix them up. And by doing that, we could actually generate market lot rent immediately, day one.
Hmm.
That's why we were able to triple the value of this thing. And so we actually found other parks in great markets that we could do that to. So some of them weren't quite as bad as this one. There's one that I'm thinking about that was, woo-hoo-hoo, pretty bad, maybe a little worse, if you believe that. Um, and so we were able to generate a lot of value really fast by doing this. And we were able, so the interesting thing is because, so if someone like, if we found one of these properties, we knew we could pay like way more than anybody else could pay. Right. So I don't know if you've ever, um, you know, who Francis Greenberger is like the co-op king guy from New York. He
Yeah.
started like co-oping, but in his book, it was just interesting. I was just reading it because he found like a little niche in a market, and that's what we did. And so if there was a property out there and you and Dan and Marcus were other mobile home park investors, you'd be like, dude, I can't pay that for that. But me, I'm like, I'm coming in at asking hard money in the beginning, and boom, we get it under contract and go. We were able to move so fast on these parks
Yeah.
um, because we knew this business model worked. Like this was the litmus test. That first park was the litmus test.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we were able to move pretty fast. And so a lot of them in that first year, 2021, were, you know, D, if I'm being nice
We'll be
today.
nice. We'll be nice. D. D is all right. Um,
Yeah.
and how are you? Because obviously you move a lot quicker and you're moving fast. But what people don't see, you don't walk down the street and meet owners of mobile home parks. Or if you do,
Right.
they don't flash it in your face and they're not touting that they own it. So how are you finding these owners? How are you vetting them to say like, "Yep, I actually like this property," or "No, I don't"? Because I feel like with it being a smaller asset class, there's fewer and fewer people and they're harder and harder to talk to and actually not just talk to them but have a meaningful conversation that I am serious, are you serious about selling? Because most of the time it's they've offloaded the management and they're pretty much untouchable, they're collecting what they collect, they probably don't even know what disarray that their property is in because they're so far removed from it. So that's an uphill battle for you guys as an investor trying to come in and take over the property. What were you finding uh, as a good course or a good method to get conversations with these people?
Yeah, and I would say like some of that that you said is 100% valid there. But also I've had experiences, 180 of that where these people were actually very accessible to talk to. And so what I did that was a successful action is I looked in my market, and I tell people like wherever you live, like in my mentorship course, like this is what we talk about, buy something within a couple hours of your market so you can drive it. And so I literally drove like almost every mobile home park between, north of Orlando to Brevard County down to Tampa in that area. I would just go out and drive the parks. I'm like, oh, I like this one. I'm going to find this guy's number and call him. Oh, I like this one. I'm going to find this guy's number and call him. Oh, I like this one. Because again, as I was mentioning earlier, I knew we could pay more. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, dude, I'll make this guy this offer. And he's like, shit, yeah, I'll take this.
Yeah.
And we were able to close like relatively fast. And sometimes I would even go in person And again, like with the insurance skills, I'm like, damn, this is easy. I'm calling a guy and trying to give him money for once.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not asking him for money anymore. So
Good point.
like that was like a, oh, okay, this is a little bit different, right?
Yep.
And so that was really my successful action. I found mobile home parks. I Googled them. There's lists that I found online. I had some VAs that were calling for me in insurance. And I had one of the guys, I'm like, dude, you're just going to start calling these now. You're going to start calling mobile home parks now. And it was terrible. He's not great. It was terrible. I got some leads. I don't think we ever closed any of those leads from him, but it still got my activity flowing.
Yeah.
And I ran into, like, I'm telling you, when you fully commit to something, like, just stuff sort of starts moving and happening in your favor. Like when
Yeah.
you actually commit to it.
Mhm.
Because any second of the day that I had to call mobile home parks when I was I would literally, so when I had the big team in the insurance business, my main thing was recruiting and bringing new people on. So that's kind of what I did all day. And so I figured out how to automate that process. And we were killing it in insurance, by the way. But any second that I got in there, I was making a call to an owner. I was making a call to this guy. And it was the same principles in insurance. The more calls you make, the more people you talk to, the more deals you're going to find. The
Mhm.
calls that you don't feel like making are probably the best time to call, or the ones that you need to call, right? Because you guys are in sales, the person you're like, I don't want to go talk to that guy, and you go in and he buys, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
We
We're
find that a
dealing
lot.
with one right now that we're calling on, and wasn't met with the greatest of warmth. And it's a situation where we got we were doing a flip. We found another decrepit house in the area. We found the owner. We called, and we don't really know if she understands the severity of where the city is at with their property. Like, they're ready to demo this thing down, and she is adamant that it's fine. And we
It's a
sent her
vacant
pictures from what we
vacant out
got
of
from the
state
city.
owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you run into those situations, but it doesn't stop us from calling. Yes, is it uncomfortable? Like, we hopped on a call together, and Dan was like, I know I have to call, but I'm like psyching myself out. It's like, well, we got to call. That's our option. We're going to call. And to get over that fear of just calling, because the worst they're going to say is no, which the first book I read when I was in sales was Go for No. I don't know if you ever read that one, but
No, I've heard of it, but I never read that
yeah, basically count your no's, and if you have your allotted no's and you go for it, you're going to find the yeses through it. But you got to reach a certain amount of no's until you're done.
one for
Um,
sure.
was kind of like the long overview of the book. But yeah, the worst they're going to say is no. And if you're coming from an aspect of trying to help, I'm not trying to undercut you, which you're saying, I'm not trying to undercut you. I'm going to give you a good offer, either even asking price or above, to get this property. Um, and I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to give you money. It takes kind of like that burden or that fear off.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
yes, for sure.
it's frustrating because they're paying taxes on this property, and it has lost so much value. It's gonna get raised. There's like a raise in demo order on it, and they just want to keep paying their property taxes, and like, I think they're not fully comprehending. They're thinking that the house is how they left it, and that was 7 or 8 years ago, and it's been unoccupied. Like, the weather's going through it. There was like how many 17,000 gallon pool that the pipe
Oh, that
burst and all of the water went into the basement, and like
My
it
gosh.
like there's a literal hole in the top story, and it goes all the way down into the basement. But they're not accepting this, and I'm just like, you're paying $7,000 a year on taxes. You're throwing money away because it's not going to get back to what you think.
yeah.
And we're literally trying to help her avoid the state or the city taking it back or demoing it, and then, hey, here's the raise
The bill.
costs, and this is going to get tacked onto your taxes. And so I don't know, it's a frustrating situation, and I call on it every day almost. So I don't know. What
That's
Marcus was saying, like the no thing, it for me, I sometimes get too persistent where it's like it's not a no right now, it's a slow yes. Like I feel confident enough in my ability to get them to understand and then turn the no into a yes eventually. Or if there's just those hard ones, you move on and find the next one. But it's a great opportunity because no matter what price we get, it'll be, or what price we offer it for, it would be a very lucrative win for sure.
Yeah.
So
And we'll be nice. We'll say this is comparable to your D type class property.
yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would take a selfie video and be like, hey, I'm on the roof here and this is your basement, dude. Like, they're coming
Yeah.
for you. Like,
Yeah.
We had shown her the picture and she's like, that's not even my living room. I have a fireplace. But the picture was like, was it of her garage or
No, I think it
something?
was her fireplace. It just the old stone that she's talking about is like kind of in the background shaded, so she can't get
Oh,
a full good view of it.
I gotcha.
But the other difficult part about that video is I don't think you can look at videos on a landline telephone. So she
Oh,
doesn't have a
yeah.
yeah,
smartphone
that's
that
true.
you can't. Yes. So
She's she's one of
I
the handwritten paper rent roll
and
kind of people.
so that's exactly what we did. We wrote a handwritten note and certified mailed it to her with the pictures of the inspection report, and we're like, hey, this is where your property is at. We caught wind of it. We're trying to get ahead of it because we don't want the city to tear this down without you knowing. They've tried to contact you. I spent 6-8 hours trying to like go through all the different websites. I know this lady's political affiliation. I know her PO boxes, her associated, like all of this stuff, and finally was able to get a number for her, kind of on an off chance. And it's a weird situation, but we finally got a hold of her, and she's more of offended that we know her personal information as far as like the situation with the house. Because I'll ask her a question, she's like silent, and I try to repeat the question. She's like, well, that's not really any of your business. And I'm like, no, it's not, but we're interested in the property, we're trying to help you out here. Like, keep repeating that, and I think she's
Yeah.
just more shocked that we know her situation with the house. But it's
Yeah.
help
And
us
like
help you.
yeah, the moral is when you get into real estate, especially in the beginning, you get scared of people coming off like that and being very like angry towards you or have some resentment towards it. Because in the properties I picked up, the way that we invest, it's all run down, usually a tear down or a big gut and rebuild. So they're usually not in the best situations. If you buy it from a sheriff's sale and you have to go meet them and basically evict them out of the home that they've been living in for 10 plus years because it went to foreclosure, they're obviously not in a very great spot. So you have to mesh this business with the personal. And I'm not trying to be rude. I don't want to be mean, but things got to go the way that they're going to go. How can I help? And you usually can break through. It's going to be a rough shell because you have to understand their situation. Here's a person coming in and trying to take their house from a person who doesn't necessarily want to leave. Um, but once you can kind of come in with some compassion and help them out, usually the rough shell breaks down and you can get somewhere. But it's getting over that like fear of no or fear of getting yelled at um, as you go through that sales process, which is the kick in the teeth you were mentioning in the first part of the show.
Yeah. And one thing I would say on that, like, all right, your listeners, like I still get a little, if I make a call now, it's like, yeah, they're still a little bit there, but I've done it so much that I just do it anyways. Like it's just
Yep.
it's kind of just a reaction that I've created. I just do it anyways. So think about it. If a telemarketer calls you now and you pick up the phone, how nice are you? Like,
I'm very nice all the
I'm not
time.
very nice, right? So just like they're not going to be that friendly in the
Yeah.
beginning. Like no one's going to call. Like I don't know. People got this idea that someone's going to pick up the phone. Oh, I'm so glad you called me today, Dan. I have no effing idea who you are. Like, and so just reconcile yourself to the fact that it's going to be uncomfortable and they're not going to like the fact that you called. Like,
Mhm.
Yep.
it is what it is. It's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with you. Like I got cold called yesterday And I get so some of these cold callers are so bad. Like I just like answering the phone so I can kind of train our guys a little bit better. This person, like, hey, this is Derek Vickers. Do you own Mason's Mobile Home Park? I'm like, yeah, it's not called that anymore, but yeah, what's up? And it was just a bad time to call me. Like I was doing something. I'm like, I didn't want to. I was like, what's up? What's up? And click, hangs up the phone. I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay.
I'm like, if I was paying that guy to call for me, I'd be pissed. Like,
Yes. You
Yes.
got somebody to actually open up and say what's up, and then you hung up.
yeah,
Which
Can I
exactly.
I feel like that was the door opened. Like at least say what you were calling about.
Exactly.
let me bring
Exactly.
up a quick example. I got a text message. I share a name with a cousin, right? And I've gotten text before, a cold text, right, from some random number, and they associate my information with his house. So they've texted me before. I've never responded. So I get a text last week. It says, any updates on this address? I'm sort of tight on time and would love to move forward. Let me know if you're ready, Mac. And they caught me in like the middle of a work day, and I was in like a state of flow, and it kind of irritated me. And I just responded. I said, I'm on the DNC list. What business are you with so I can report you? Just kind of being an ass. Said, I have no affiliation with that address. Do better skip tracing and research.
Yeah.
No response. I said, you being tight on time is not a way to create a call to action for a big financial business decision on my end. Any questions to determine the needs of the sellers you're trying to work with? Get micro with the process. Don't text 1,000 people hoping for one bite. Do better research. Put a little more time in for better opportunities. Your success rate could be 10 to 1. So didn't respond, by the way, to any of that, but I kind of laughed at it initially, and then I was just blowing them up. I was like, forget this. Like, I'm just gonna put them on the spot because they're like, well, I'm tight on time. That's not okay. Oh, you're tight on time. Okay, I'm gonna sell my house to you really quick. Like, no, that's not how it
Oh
works.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna sell it right now
Yeah,
because you're tight on time.
yeah.
And
So
like you got to think about too, like in the mobile home park business, especially you're buying from mom and pop, they develop these freaking parks. They've owned them for
Yep.
20, 30,
yeah,
40, 50 years. Like
Yep.
it's not coming off that easily. Like you're not gonna Wolf of Wall Street them on the first call and get
yeah,
them to close like that.
yeah,
Like it's just not gonna happen. And
yeah.
so like the relationship building is super, super important.
The follow up
Is
for sure.
like, I
Yeah,
mean, follow up. And you just have to kind of be more than just robotic with these people. Especially and just like, you know, a mobile home park seller is the lady that you're dealing with that house. Like I asked the
Yep.
guy for a rent roll. It was a couple months ago. I think I had a post on social media about it. But he sends me a picture. He could actually
I
send
saw it.
pictures on
I
the
saw
phone.
it. I saw
Okay.
it. I saw that
Yeah.
one.
He sent pictures on the phone, and it was a rent roll that he wrote out on yellow loose leaf paper.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Yeah,
That screams mom and pop for sure.
I
for
thought you were talking
sure.
about the other one where you asked him for his rent roll and you said he pointed to his head.
Oh yeah, that guy. We're still trying to get that guy. So this guy, great guy by the way. So for a follow up with him, I knew he was a big Trump fan, so I got him this Trump figurine and sent it to
Awesome.
his house. You got to find what they like. You got to find what
Yep.
they like and play with that.
Yeah.
Um, but so he's got 72 in there now. He's expanding it to 85. I'm like, hey, can we get a rent roll? We're walking the park with him. And he literally tells me that he picks up cash from everybody at different times of the month
Yeah.
because he's got different setups with everybody. And I'm like, he thinks he's making this amount of money a month, but he don't even know. He don't even
Yeah.
know. He's just picking up all this cash regularly, and he said his rent rolls right here. I'm like, okay, like
Oh, that's
Whatever
a
works.
scary
Whatever
purchase.
works, man.
That is a
yeah,
scary. Hopefully, because you haven't picked that one up, right? You said you're still
not
working
yet.
on that one.
Not yet.
Close. We're close. We're close on that one.
Well, hopefully the numbers that he writes down are the actual numbers, but I guess we'll wait and see for that one. Um,
Yeah. So that one is an RV park. I think there's like 10 mobile homes in there.
okay.
And yeah, you're right. I hope so. I
Right.
also like the second park that we bought, we were like, hey, is there bank statements or proof of deposits for the income coming in and that this rent roll was correct? And it was like the first of the month or the third or fourth or something. And we got a picture from their property manager sent of, a
A
stack of
stack of money.
cash on the desk. Like, okay,
I saw that one too. Oh
it
man,
doesn't do much for me.
no,
No. Oh, that
yeah,
scares me. And obviously, you guys uh, creating these D class properties, bringing them up to, I'm going to call them A class properties. You guys are
I don't know
using.
about that. You're being nice again, Marcus.
I'm
You're
being
being
nice on
nice.
both ends. I'm very generous. So you take
Yeah.
them from a D class to an A class. You guys are running a good management company. You guys have CRMs. You have systems in place for processing either maintenance requests or rent roll, all that stuff. Is that something you guys did from the jump, or you developed over time?
Well, we did it from the jump, like very haphazardly because it was just drinking from a fire hose all the time. So it was just band-aid, 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 until it broke. So we got to like 500 lots, 400 lots, and it worked. It was still band-aid, 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 catch up a little bit. It was still very, yeah, it just wasn't great. And then we made an acquisition right after we refinanced the first deal. It was going to put us at 1,000 lots, so we were going to double in size in one transaction. And my business partner was like, "Okay, these are pretty good deals. We like it, but I'm telling you, it's going to break when we do this." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, we'll figure it out." Naive Derek was like, "Oh no, we're good. We'll figure it out." And of course, everything fricking just went to smithereens. Like nothing worked again. Like it was completely operating differently. It was just there was more geography involved. And so I like people in my program now, I'm like, dude, when you have that park, that's when you need to put these systems and processes in place
Yep.
so you don't have to kill yourself like I did when we got to 1,000 lots, and you don't make all these mistakes that I made like throughout the process. I'm actually creating a program now that actually it's a operations only program to where every SOP that we've had is laid out in the program, like how to get people to do this, how to do this, how to do this, how to do this, a step-by-step process, how to set up your books and your bookkeeping and all that. That's not available yet, but I'm creating something like that because I'm like, damn, if I would have had something like that in the beginning, that someone would just said, here, Derek, do
Yep.
this. Like, I would have been a lot easier for
Yes, and I will piggyback on that one because when I started, it was all spreadsheets, and I would keep track of the house we're flipping on this spreadsheet and the rent rolls on this one. And I wouldn't take cash. That was one thing I learned, just no cash. It's either check or at that time I didn't have credit cards, so that was what I was left with. And it was a whole week process of trying to make sure where all the checks were and depositing them and then updating the spreadsheet, and then I'm also flipping a house, so like I have to keep track of costs here. And I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I can't sleep at night. So for my
me.
sanity, that's when I got on automation. And now everything is done through spreadsheets. I found myself saving time. It was super simple because obviously you want to create a relationship with your new tenants, and you want them to know the company, and you want them to feel like there's more. This isn't just a business, because then they're going to treat it as such, and they're not going to care for the things that you care for. So the more of a relationship you can build with them, while still letting them know this is being run like a business. Um, but I found myself repeating myself, like, oh yeah, this is in town, and this is where how you set up your we energies, and this is the number you call for electrical, and these are the cable providers. I had Dan kind of create this blueprint of all the amenities in the area, all the schools in the area, the numbers for the schools, who to call, when to set up your electrical. And it's all in this nice folder with their move in. They can write down and take pictures of all the damages when they moved in, and we can go through at the end and initial it. All of those systems that were built save hours and hours and hours of time throughout the year, which is super great. Which I've never been a systems guy because they feel like they bog you down. But when you have them in place and you keep them rolling, it just makes the whole system work better, and it saves your mentals from being strained and taxed on all the busy work you have to do, which is exciting for me and for the tenants as well, because they can go on and process their payment. They can set it on auto draft and not have to worry about making a rent payment every month. Like everything just works easier.
Yes, 100%. It makes your life a lot easier when you have this stuff.
Yes.
Trust me. Less gray
Yep.
hairs, less brain damage, all the above.
Yeah. And Grant Cardone didn't write the 10X rule, right? That was a different author.
No, that's it. He
It
wrote
is
that.
him?
Yeah.
Because I got that from him, because I was like, "Well, I can take the checks and I can run to the bank and I can talk to him and I can do that." Yeah, I can, but should you? Because all the hours spent doing that, what else could you be doing? And then it kinda he kinda tipped my mind into like, "Okay, pay for the service, pay the extra money to get it actually, like, documented and automated, because it's gonna cost you, what, $200, $300 a year for this service, but it's your time is not free. So you have to weigh out what you'd actually pay yourself to do what you're doing and what it would cost to automate it. And in that point, it was a very, very easy decision.
Yep. Yep.
Man, Grant coming in twice on the show.
Is he frozen again? Yeah.
What's that? I'm frozen?
It looks like it. No worries. No worries. Now you're good. Now you're good.
Okay. Okay.
No, I think we're hitting the 1 hour mark too. I know you, like you said,
Yeah.
you're on vacation, so we don't want to keep you much longer. But
It's all good, dude.
The
no, we
last question I was going to ask you, because obviously you've grown so quickly, so fast. What do you have for? I mean, I know we're what, 3 months to the end of the year, 3, 4 months. What do you have towards the end of the month, and what are you guys projecting for 24? Obviously, with the market being in limbo, what are you guys trying to shoot for the end of the year slash 24?
Whew. Well, it's a little weird. Like I mean, we'll close. I think we'll get 2 deals closed by the end of this year. Um, other than that, I mean, we haven't bought anything since December of last year. I mean, the expectations from the seller are here,
Yep.
and you just we're here, right? And it just doesn't make
Yep.
sense, and we're not going to buy anything just to buy anything.
Right.
Capital, I mean, I've got people, hey, we want to invest, we want to invest. I mean, capital is, it's there, but I'm just not going to take an investor's money, because I'm putting my money into these deals too, dude. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
like I put a lot of capital in these deals too. Like I'm not just gonna, put it in to put it in. And we don't have any, tax issues where we would buy something for tax purposes this year. But so 2024, I think my projection is June of 24. Things sellers start to loosen up. I mean, I've seen them starting to loosen up a little bit. But even, in some of these seller financing deals where I can pay more, now they're getting greedy on the interest rate. They're like, oh, well, if the Fed start, if prime is 8.5 or 8.25,
yeah.
then I can charge 8. I'm like, well, it doesn't work like that. Like
Yeah.
we seller finance. I want to seller finance so I can pay you your egregious number, but you have to give me a low interest rate. Like, so it's, I think we'll get 2 deals done by the end of this year. Um, Yeah, so we'll
That'll be
see.
exciting.
And you
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the deals you find, right? These aren't the operators or the owners aren't like listing these, right? So you're doing the cold calling and you're like, hey, are you interested in selling this? Right. It's so that's, I think, another thing that I don't, not that our listeners are naive, but like it's not like you're going in there making an offer when it's listed publicly, right? You're doing the work, like you said, putting in the extra calls and building the rapport and establishing the relationship, and then you get to the point of the conversation. Okay, so you know, have we gotten to a point where you're ready to sell? If so, what's your number? And then we can move from there. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and I have a team of guys that are doing that.
okay,
And I have another business partner that actually he's so good at acquisitions and talking to these guys because he understands real estate, he understands seller financing, the
yeah,
debt markets and things, so he can really talk to them. And and then also I've got a created this pretty decent social media presence in the mobile home park space in the last 8 months to a year that I've got great relationships with brokers and stuff. So I get pocket listings sent to me daily. Like
nice,
just it's just difficult to get stuff to pencil now.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
awesome.
Well, that's super exciting for the end of the year, and I'm sure if you get those two locked in, you'll have enough to manage and get going for 24, or at least until June when you look to buy again. So
Yeah, well, this is actually this little, little craziness in the economy has actually been really good for us because we've been able to take a deep breath and really focus on operations. And now most of those parks are just, we're like 96, 97% collected every month. There's not that many
nice,
problems, and we're chugging along.
Nice.
good.
So I think
I'm
we
glad to hear
needed
that.
this time. We needed this time to take a breath. As much
Yeah.
as I hate to say it.
No, it's needed. It's needed.
Yeah.
No, that's exciting. I'm happy that you came on and told the story. I'm excited for where you guys are headed because that is you guys went 0 to 100 very quickly, and I'm glad to see it's
Very
taken off
quickly.
and going well.
Yes, thank you.
That's awesome.
Cool.
And I look forward to your 2024. I'm sure we'll have you back on to see what big changes have happened. But we'll let you get on to your vacation. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I
All
know we're
good,
like,
guys. Yeah, would love to come back on, Dan and Marcus. I enjoyed chatting with you guys. Good conversation here.
Yeah.
So
Same. Yeah.
definitely would love to do it again.
Sounds
absolutely.
good.
Yeah, we'll send you an invite. But enjoy the rest of your vacation. I appreciate the time and have a good weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, really quick before I go,
Yeah.
maybe you can put this in the show notes too. But if you go and check out my free ebook at
Yes.
free.parkinvestingpro.com, free.parkinvestingpro.com. It's an ebook. Basically, it tells you how I structured all my deals that I did here in the beginning, how I structured them with no money and how to do it with no money, and then how to actually go get the money you need so you can do it with no money, and how actually I did that. So if you check that out, I got my podcast, the MHP Show. It's all about mobile home parks, new episodes every week. So you can check that out on iTunes, Spotify, I don't know, YouTube, everything. And I'm on all social media platforms. I'm
That's
definitely not
awesome.
hard to find.
Okay.
No, I
Okay.
appreciate that. And I apologize for not asking. The only thing left out, what is the best way for them to contact you? Is it social media that you're on?
Yeah, yeah. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram, Twitter. I don't know. I mean, any of them. And like,
Awesome.
shoot me a DM. Would love, if you have questions, reach out.
And then you do have the mastermind class as well. Is that something that people should reach out through Instagram to learn more about?
Yeah, so if you go and get that free ebook, there are also some other things that you can get. And I don't think that, we still got this on there, but you can scroll down and actually get the free webinar as well. And so that free webinar and ebook will actually give you the webinar will teach you the basics of mobile home park investing, how to underwrite a deal, how to tell if a deal is good or not. And then the ebook will tell you actually how to structure that deal and how to find the money for that deal. And so it really gives you a step-by-step process all the way through for free. I mean, you could use that information and go get your first deal. And then we have the masterclass program, which is basically more of we do coaching calls bi-weekly, and I'm on there. And I probably do more than I should. I have people call me on my cell phone. I'm underwriting deals for our people all day, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
Yeah.
fun. So you can check all that out. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Cool.
Awesome. Awesome. Hopefully get some people to reach out to you, Derek. Because you are a wealth of knowledge and way to go get it. That's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
We'll talk
Thank you.
soon.
Yeah.
All right, see ya.
Bye.